summarize the Denver Broncos at the quarter pole here, progress report, how would you summarize their season thus far in a couple sentences?
I don't listen all that great, so I'm going to try to do this in a couple sentences. Inconsistent in closing out games, Zach, and very undisciplined. When it comes to the Denver Broncos, they've committed 31 penalties already. They're tied for 7th most in the NFL. Right? They're tied right there with seven other teams. So there's 6 other teams out there that are undisciplined, just like the Denver Broncos. That's what I would say is just they're very inconsistent. And if they would start to just finally just be more consistent when it comes to the penalties and finding out their identity, especially as an offense, then they're going to become a really, really good team and a scary team that you're not going to want to play if you're one of their opponents. So that's what I would go with the Denver Broncos right now in 4 games. Just inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. And when it comes to those crunch time moments and situations, you can't count on them.
Nope.
And that's just the facts. I mean, the Colts game, like the Colts game, if the defense holds up just long enough, you win that game. If you don't have a penalty, you win that game. The Chargers, again, on the defense. But, of course, we can say the offense because the offense had 6 3-and-outs against the Chargers.
2 for 13 on third.
But defensively, when you needed it the most, you weren't able to hold on. And Justin Herbert was able to be Houdini and then get out of and elude a tackle from Zach Allen and throw a touchdown to Keenan Allen. And, honestly, Riley Moss had good coverage on him. It was just a good catch. And so now for the Denver Broncos, can you finish games? Can you be consistent, and can you be more disciplined throughout the games so you're not in situations where you have to lean on a kicker or lean on the defense to stop that last drive?
I like it. I think that's a pretty good summary of where we're at here a quarter of the way into the season. Disjointed, undisciplined, and have come up small in some really big moments. And I can't believe that we're talking about a 2-2 football team that still has not trailed for a single second in any fourth quarter. It's just insane. But that's how fickle this game can be. And the NFL, just more than anybody else, it's just so the margin for error is just so razor thin.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a team like the Denver Broncos, who are still forming, into a contender. What grade would you give this offense here? What grade would you give the Broncos offense for their progress report at the quarter pole here?
So you saw glimpses of this team can be explosive. You saw it a couple times in Tennessee. You saw it of course Monday night against Cincy. Even with the Chargers was a bad game. The Colts having four drives where he had 4 touchdown drives. All right, that was good to see. So it's there. But overall, Zach, as of right now, their progress report would be a C+. A C+
for the offense.
For the offense. The C+ because there's a lot to fix. Bo Nix did struggle for the first three games. Truly, the 3 games now, of course, against Tennessee, he had some good plays. But overall, just being consistent, a consistent quarterback, anchoring down, setting his feet, being accurate with the football, that hasn't been Bo Nix. Now, of course, with Cincy, he started to get his act together, and now hopefully he can sustain that. Also, when it comes to running the ball, we can be a lot more consistent running the ball now. We have running backs.
Yep.
We have J.K. Dobbins. R.J. Harvey looked a little bit better. Let's run the ball. This is the second highest paid offensive line in the league. All right, and they want to get downhill. So can we be more consistent in running the ball and not just having those chunk plays? And I know last year we were like, can we please get a 24-yard gain? Well, now we're getting those. But can we just get the chunk plays? I'm saying 5 yards, 6 yards, 10 yards. Well, we got to see that against the Bengals. We saw that a little bit against the Chargers. But let J.K. Dobbins get going. Give him 18, 20 carries now. I think he's building up for that. He's conditioned to do that. And he's already said that, hey, I need more carries, consecutive carries to get in a rhythm. If you can do that, you're going to be more consistent as an offense. And, Zach, that's the identity of this team, whether Sean likes it or not. Run first, pass second. Now, of course, I know it's Sean. He's going to want to throw the ball. He threw the ball over 40 times against the Bengals.
Yeah, in a game where you're in complete control. Still threw it over 40 times and threw it more than they passed. But ran it.
If you want to have success, if you want to sustain drives and stay on the football field, if you want to set up your play action, which Sean wants to do, then people have to respect the run. Teams have to respect the run long enough to build up for those explosive plays. The identity of this team is run first, pass second. Don't argue with me. Just agree.
Well, by the numbers, it's not even close. Do we realize how many members of Broncos Country, or rather what percentage of Broncos Country, if I went around the stadium in my little man on the street with the microphone and I say, hey, where do you think the Denver Broncos rank as a rushing offense in the NFL?
They probably say in the middle of the pack.
Somewhere, right?
Yeah, middle of the pack.
I think I might say that as well, okay? By the numbers, the Broncos have the 5th best rushing attack in the league right now, behind only the Bills, who are number 1, the Commanders at number 2, the Jets at number 3,
Okay, the Jets,
and the Jags at number 4. And there's context there, though, because Josh Allen's yards are going to count for rushing yards. Justin Fields, his yardage is going to count towards rushing yards. But the Broncos there as the 5th best rushing attack in professional football at the quarter pole with 143 yards per game. Now, has it felt like they had the 5th best rushing attack, quarter by quarter so far this season? Not really, but they have
it's streaky.
It is streaky. That's a perfect way to say it.
Very streaky where it's like, here's a chunk play. JK for 41 yards. Oh, JK for 19-yard touchdown. But it's just not consistent throughout the game like it was Monday night, where you just knew JK was going to get 5 yards a pop.
Yep.
Every time that man touched the ball, it was successful yardages. And that's what you're looking for on a daily basis. That's what you're looking for throughout a 60-minute football game. But it can happen. We have the team to do it. We have the line and the running back to do that with.
Yep. But Sean has not completely, and I don't believe will completely, lean into that identity. I will believe it when I see it. I, like you, have the Broncos. I have all my grades written down. We have the exact same grade for the Broncos offense.
Why'd you have to shoehorn that one in? You thought I was going to say you're cheating?
Yeah,
copying me.
That probably would have been said. just being clear that I had the Broncos as a C+ grade. Now, yards per game wise, they're currently 9th. But this is why you can't obsess over early season numbers, because they can get skewed so quickly, all right? So yards per game, they're a top 10 offense. They're 9th, averaging 355 yards a game. But when you have a game where you go for 512 and you only have 4 games of sample size, because if you took away this past week and looked at just the first 3 weeks, the Broncos had the 22nd ranked offense in the NFL when it came to yards per game. In terms of points per game, and points are the name of the game, right? It's not how much you move the ball between the 20s, but can you get in the end zone? The Broncos are averaging 24 points a game, which is exactly and perfectly average. 16 in a league of 32. So point per game, ranked 16th. Considering the context of all the conversations that we just had, and sort of the disjointed passing offense and the streaky rushing offense, but that's obviously being done at a higher level than the pass as of right now. I'll give them a C+. All right. And also, I'm taking into account that 3 of their 4 opponents are statistically bottom 10 defenses.
Yeah.
So that was weighted as well. How about the Broncos' grade on defense at the progress report quarter poll?
Zach, I went back and forth on this one. Like, of course, we know the backbone of this team is the defense, and they have came up big. But there are times where I'm scratching my head saying, what are you guys doing? Like finishing games, maybe the start of a game, the start of drives at the beginning of the game have been awful for the Denver Broncos defense. That has to stiffen up. So I give them a B+. B+ is 4 games. I'm expecting them to be an A-, A+ by the end of it if we're going to make some noise in the playoffs. Because right now they're second in points allowed. They have an elite pass rush group. Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen. But then they have depth. All right, they have Tillman, they have Jonah Ellis. They have it. Now, of course, they're lacking at the linebacker position. So hopefully when Dre Greenlaw gets back in the mix, that can help out with the linebackers if he ever shows up.
I was going to say, I've actually, this is actually unhealthy. I have not thought about Dre Greenlaw yet these last few days.
He's not available. Right? You can't make the club in the tub. That's what they used to tell you, right? Like, you're not going to think about him until he's on that football field.
Yeah, and the phrase "out of sight, out of mind" is meant for the Dre Greenlaw situation. That's why I hadn't thought about him in about a week.
No, for sure. But you still have Pat Surtain, Defensive Player of the Year last year. Riley Moss who is still playing really good football.
He is.
Hufanga and Brandon Jones back there. So The defense is doing their thing. They're getting back. They're getting pressure. They're getting the sacks. But it's all about the late game failures. It's about, hey, bowing up when it matters the most. When your offense is struggling at the end of games and you have to win it for the team, can you do that? Against the Colts, they were not able to do that. Against the Chargers, they were not able to do that. Now, against tougher opponents like the Eagles, can you do that? Can you show us that we can count on you? Because we're going to need you in the playoffs. We're going to need you to make that extra play, that interception, that sack fumble, whatever you have to do to give that offense another opportunity, to give Bo Nix that other opportunity. And then it comes down to when you talk about an undisciplined team, a lot of those penalties, 16 penalties, is on the defense this year. You have to clean that up. So in that situation, in that case, that's why I gave him a B+.
Man, I was so going back and forth between a B+ and an A-, and I went with an A-.
Okay.
And I co-sign a lot of the stuff that you said there. But the reason that I ultimately gave him an A- is because when you are allowing, in the year 2025, in a league that is set up for offensive success, and you're allowing less than 17 points per game, that is pretty damn good. And I know you referenced it. It's the second best mark in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then you're leading the NFL once again in getting after the quarterback. 15 sacks in 4 games. Yards per game, they're still top 10. And I understand why it sounded like maybe some of the tiebreaker to go to B+ was the late game failures.
Late game failures.
There's no doubt that is a part of the story. But one of the things that ended up breaking the tie for me to give him an A- was in those games, I thought that at times it was an unreasonable ask for how much they were asked to step up for the offense. And so when you, again, I don't want to let them off the hook completely in those moments because football is going to be hard. Not everyone's going to be their best version every week. But so I ended up giving them an A-. The one part or portion of this defense where they're not doing a great job, and it's early, and these things can be circumstantial and come in bunches, they're not really turning over their opponent.
Yeah.
They're exactly in the middle of the pack when it comes to turnovers forced. So, the more we're talking about it might have been a B+ instead of an A-, but that's where I landed. In terms of Bo Nix, I gave Bo specifically, Phil, a C+ here. He is perfectly average in yards thrown, 16th in the NFL. What I really don't like is he's the 20th ranked quarterback in completion percentage right now. And he throws it to the line of scrimmage more than any other quarterback in the NFL right now. So that's a little bit hard through 4 games, and it's still so early. So I don't want to obsess over these numbers, and it's a progress report, not a report card. But being 20th in the NFL, when you're the league leader at passes within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage or even behind the line of scrimmage, that's got to get better. Touchdowns, he's tied for 4th. That's great. Interceptions, he's tied for 4th. That's not so great. QBR, the metric that takes everything into account, he is the 20th ranked quarterback in the NFL. I gave him a C+ for his progress report.
Oh, why you got to be so harsh on Bo? C+. No, I'm with you on this one. For Bo, he has to clean some things up. Turnovers, definitely. I love him being aggressive, and it's going to come for him. And I know that there's a lot put on his plate right now with Sean when it comes to this offense, different personnel groupings, getting to really understand and learn about his tight end, his receivers. So it's coming along. But for Bo, it's about making the right decisions, like being more fundamentally sound with your footwork. Right, the technique of your footwork. Those are the things that you can control. Control the controllables.
Sure.
So C+ is something, it's fitting for Bo Nix as of right now. It's 4 games. We know that he's going to get better. We know that this team is going to get better as long as they can stay healthy.
All right, we'll give a grade for Sean Payton.